Hi everyone, welcome to the New Authors Publishing Journey panel. My name is social media team of Himalayan Writing Retreat. Before we begin, let me quickly introduce you to all the authors we have on panel today. First of all, Dr. Arva Bhavnagarwala is the author of A Little Bit of Love, which was shortlisted for the Unbound Firsts and later acquired by a NYC-based publisher called Scheherazade Shelves. Then we have Riddhi Maniar Doda, whose debut picture book, The Boy Who Wore Bangles, was published by Karari Tales and shortlisted for the National Jarul Book Award. Her recent book, Manvinder's Medubada, has been published by Bill, an imprint of Penguin Random House India, which was also a direct result of FDC. Then we have Shalini Vineeth, debut novel Lost Edges in 2020. She also has The Tree, The Well, and The by Red River's Drag Queen to be published. And we have Shikhar Goyal's debut novel Delhi Disco is a mystery thriller published by Penguin India very recently in April 2025. And of course, we have our moderator for this panel, Michelle. Michelle Bambawale's first book, Becoming Goan, is a contemporary coming home story, also published by Penguin Random House in December 2023. So we also have an entire blog post on Michelle's writing, which is written by her about her writing and publishing journey. I'll be sharing the link in the chat group. Yeah, it's over to you now, Michelle. We can begin.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for coming. Good to see so many familiar faces. I'm going to start with the question. My first question is for Arva. Do you have any specific strategies that help to juggle your day job as a doctor, which we know is a very busy job, with your writing publishing work?
Hi everyone, thanks Pratyusha for that wonderful introduction. Yes, I do have a few strategies for my writing journey. First is something called as self-management. That is, I make a rough plan for my day, so I kind of know when will I get some free time throughout the day. Besides, I'm also into private practice. So I managed to squeeze in 60 to 90 minutes in the afternoons when the patient load is not too heavy. So I can get some writing and reading done during that time. Another thing is it's not possible for me or for anyone, I think, to write every day, every single day. There are something or the other always coming up, especially with kids and responsibilities as a woman. So something or the other always comes up. So what I do is if I'm not writing, I'm reading. Either reading in my genre, the books that I like to write in, or any other genre that interests me. And third, and the most important one, I believe, is setting realistic goals and having an accountability partner. You know your schedule well. So you know you'll be able to write a book, say, in 1 month, 3 months, 5 months. So according to that, you set your plan and have someone to report to regularly. Because with that reporting, what will happen is you know that you have to update your progress to someone. And if you don't do it, that person will ask you why you did not write, what happened. So basically, you will delay your chances of procrastination. You will make sure you achieve your goals a little better and better on time. So this, I believe, is the most important strategy out of all the three: realistic goals and having an accountability partner. So these have been my go-to since the last few years to juggle my day job as well as writing.
Wow, thanks, Arva. I have some questions about your partner, but I'm going to quickly go to Shikhar because he also has an important day job and has managed to publish a book. So any strategies that are similar or different to Arva?
Ma'am, honestly, when I was writing my first book, I was working as in my steel manufacturing family business. So I did not have to scramble for time a lot because, I already came into a place where all systems and synchronization and systems were already in place. So I used to be done in the evening and I used to have a lot of time to myself. And I used to spend about an hour and a half about every other day, if not every day. And also, as Arva ma'am mentioned, I had an accountability partner. I had a friend who was writing her book, And it honestly helped us both a lot that we're both writing, even though our genres were entirely different. So I think that helped. And towards the end of my writing journey, when I was editing, that's when I discovered FTC. And FTC, I think, made me be more accountable to a lot of more people other than just one person. And the irony of the situation is I'm now writing my second book and I'm trying to build a startup of my own. And I'm really scrambling for time right now for my second book. So if anybody has a good time management book, maybe recommend it to me after the panel. So yeah.
My God, Shikhar, I've written only one book and I have no day job and I have no abilities like you. I'm going to go to Shalini. Shalini, you have both been self-published and traditionally published. What has been your experience with both? What do you recommend and why?
Yeah, so I have been self-published and about to be traditionally published. So for the new writers, I'll suggest this. So first of all, if you keep the notions of prestige and validations that surround the traditional publishing and just take it objectively, like you have to get your book out, it boils down to three things basically. So first is the time to market, second is the distribution, and third aspect is the money. So in traditional publishing, it can take anywhere from 1 year to 2 years or more if you go through the traditional publishing route. And out of that, 4 to 6 months may go in pitching and getting accepted. So this is the time frame of a traditional publishing. So if you are okay with it, if you are ready to wait for 1 year or 2 years, you can definitely try out traditional publishing at first. You can try pitching to lit agents, you can try pitching to publishers, etc. And the second part is a distribution, which is very important. And with traditional publishers, especially the big five, they have a very great distribution network, which kind of lacks in the self-publishing arena. So you have to sell your book through online in self-publishing. And in some, I'll get to that later, but in some cases, you can get distribution with self-publishing, but still it is limited. So for every author, seeing your book in a particular bookstore is a matter of honor and pride. But if it's not a deal breaker for you, you can still think of self-publishing. It's a good option. And in my experience, my opinion, even online sales, you can do fantastically. But you should have a strategy for that. And the third one is, of course, money. You may spend anywhere from 1,000 rupees, a few thousands or 10,000s to few lakhs in self-publishing. You can spend that much money if you're ready to, and if depending on the services you go for. So these three, if you are ready to spend money, then self-publishing, you can bring out absolutely fantastic book through self-publishing. And there are some hybrid publishers who actually tie up with the traditional publisher and distribute your book. So that also you may need to spend some money. So three things. One is time to market. Second one is the distribution. And third one is the money aspect. So this is my suggestion would be, you should have a timeline on how much you're ready to wait for a traditional publisher. I know people who have been waiting for 2 years, 3 years, and in the process, don't lose the excitement about your book. You have written a book, that is the most important thing. So have a timeline. Say I'll wait for 8 months or 9 months for a self-publisher, traditional publisher. Then you can pursue a self-publishing target. So these are the things, some of the things you have to be, take into account when you decide between trad or self. Yeah, that's it.
Thanks, Shalini. So traditional publisher, you need patience, whereas self-publishing, you have control, but you need to invest time and money. Okay, I'm going to go to Riddhi, who's a children's author. Please tell us how you pitched your book to Penguin Direct, and also any advice for children's authors on pitching and publishing their books.
Right. So coincidentally, both my books, I got to pitch them as a result of the workshops that I attended. My first book, The Boy Who Wore Bangles, I had attended a workshop by Kardi Tales, a picture book writing workshop for children. And as a part of that, I had pitched this manuscript to the commissioning editor who was conducting the workshop. And of all the manuscripts, this was chosen and went to print within a year. My second book, Manvinder's Medu Vada, again was a result of HWR that I attended at FTC 16. So although my manuscript was ready 2 years back, I hadn't found the right publisher then.
But in FDC 16, when Shayoni Basu from Penguin Duckbill Books had conducted a session, I got a chance to send my manuscript to her, and I mean, after that, she accepted it immediately. But it again took, like Shalini said, it takes time. So it took 1 year and 3 months to get out in print.
So amazing. So the direct effect of the FDC was your being able to pitch directly to Penguin.
Yes, yes.
Good to know. Arva, I'm going to come back to you. You have managed to get an international publisher for your books. Any first-time writers here looking to land an international publisher, what do you recommend? What should they do?
Yes, so before I begin with the actual advice, as Shalini and Riddhi said, traditional publishing is an agonizingly slow process. Sometimes it may take an international publishers, it takes 2 to 3 years, even more, to get for a book to see the light of the day. So that is one thing. Secondly, now many of you might ask, why did I choose to go that way? I did query Indian agents and publishers, but I did not get a satisfactory response from them. And I was pretty clear I didn't want to pay anyone to get published. My husband has a printing press and he offered to do it for free, but that's besides the point. So and secondly, I was a new writer at the time and I needed some validation, which is, I got that when this international editor accepted my book, and the process with which she approached it, the approach was really fantastic and I learned a lot from it. I can even use it in my present work and in my future work. It opened an entirely new perspective. So now coming to the point, before you query any international agent or publisher, there are 3 things which you need to make ready. First is your submission package, a database, a list of your agents and publishers that you are going to pitch to. And third is you have to develop a thick skin, which you will get eventually once you get So coming to the submission package, you need to have a query letter, a synopsis, and your sample pages. So query letter or cover letter has all the basic data about your book, the genre, the word count, the comparable titles, the hook, the unique selling point. It also has a brief summary of the book outlining the goal, motivation, and conflict of your main characters, and a short author bio. You don't have to write about what you do, what you don't do in your author bio, of course. It's just, if you don't have any writing credits, you just mention this is your debut book, that's it. And this entire query letter should be less than 300 to 350 words. And the summary should basically read like the back jacket of any published book that you see in a bookstore. Secondly is your synopsis. Again, this should include your entire story, including all spoilers, details, everything in the present tense, ideally less than 1,000 words, though each agent or publisher might have a different requirement. And third is your sample pages. I suggest polish the first 50 to 100 pages to the best of your abilities, because most publishers, agents in the beginning ask for the first 3 chapters, 5 chapters, and so on. So 100 pages, polish to the best of your ability, and you can of course continue polishing the rest as you query. And one more important thing is you do not give up after querying 15 to 20 agents or publishers. I queried around 75 to 80 people before I landed.
Wow.
So you have to persevere. That is the word. Persevere to get your to get a deal in international markets. It's not difficult. It's not impossible. You just have to work hard, be at it. And now that they are opening up to more marginalized people, we have better chance at getting published out there.
Wow. Thanks, Arva. That's very good advice. Develop a thick skin and be persevering. I think we have too oversensitive about our writing. Okay, I'm going to go back to Riddhi and ask her how, actually, I don't know if you have anything more to say. You said how you pitched to Penguin. Is there anything more you want to add to that? Any advice for children's writers?
I would like to give these tips to them. One is to write and rewrite. I spend 1 hour writing every day. I have inculcated that discipline. Even if it's making a change in one sentence the next day, it helps a lot. So write and rewrite every day, and research on what the children's publishers have already published, because then you know that they're not going to take a similar theme. Also, the ideas that you have are most likely, taken by most of the people, taken up already. So you might think your idea is unique, but it might not be. The other thing is form a network of writers and peers who will review your manuscript, and fall in love with your manuscript, but also be your biggest critic. So you don't think that your manuscript is the best. Go to libraries, go to bookstores, read about a lot of other authors.
Okay. Thanks, Riddhi. I'm now going to go to Shikhar, who also pitched directly to Penguin, that to fiction without a lit agent, and landed a deal. So I think that is an ideal that many of us would dream of. So tell us your secret formula.
It is indeed, ma'am, the $1,000,000 question that I
Don't
have.
call me ma'am, even though I have white hair. Please don't call me ma'am.
So Michelle, this is indeed the $1,000,000 question that's been asked the most out of me ever since I announced that I'm getting published with Penguin without an agent. And before I dive into the long answer, I'll give the 2-word answer, cold emailing. And I'm going to elaborate on it. So I think it was mid 2023, and I had finished my manuscript, and I started reaching out to all the possible lit agents in the country, and anybody who even had the words mentioned lit agent, and whether or not they have represented anybody at that point or not, I just reached out to them, irrespective of whether they charged money upfront or they took a commission and anything. I just reached out to everybody. And after I did not get the response that I expected out of everybody, I think 6 to 8 months had passed at this point. And I thought I should start reaching out to publishing houses on my own, because what's the worst that will happen? I will get ejected or I won't get a reply, and I will probably start exploring Kindle Direct Publish. And I was really fascinated by that aspect because it is doing really well in the West. So I actually took a business school approach to this a little bit. So when I was applying to, so I'm a business student, and when I was applying to business schools in the West, so what my counselor had told me, forget about the big names, forget about Ivy Leagues, and forget about what is good to the public. Think about what is your best fit. For example, Harvard might be the biggest name out there, but it might not be the best fit for what you want to ultimately do. So I realized that my book is a comedy thriller, and it's not a sincere comedy, and it's not a sincere thriller. It's a genre blending book. So I started lurking around at bookstores and try to find what are the titles similar to mine. So I realized that Penguin has come up with Thursday Murder Club recently, and everyone in my family has murdered someone recently, and these books have achieved a fair bit of success. And Harper had come out with Anuja Chauhan's latest comedy thriller books. So I kind of thought that these publishing houses would be a good fit because they recognize this kind of work. So these publishing houses were on the top of my list. And so I kind of like ranked all publishing houses, like if you're writing romance, Srishti publishers might be on your top 5. So I kind of ranked all of them for myself, that according to the best fit for me. Like I forgot about what is the biggest name in terms of public out there, because getting published is not the ultimate aim. I wanted to be somebody who's read by people. Like the correct publishing house will get you to maximum people if they understand your work. Otherwise, you're just going to get published and you're going to be one of the people in the glossary of authors. So that's what I did. And so I started reaching out to publishing houses. I started looking at their submission pages on their website. I started looking for people on LinkedIn who are associated with publishing houses, authors who have worked with publishing houses, and tried to contact anybody, cold contacted anybody, probably 50 to 100 people easily now that I recount. And if you ever get your hands on my book, you'll see my acknowledgements. I have made like a paragraph to like a generalist paragraph to everybody who I contacted, because I was forgetting names of people who I have contacted by that point, because I just wanted any suggestion, information, because like publishing houses work as corporates, and you got to look at there's a method to madness. There could be a method to madness. So I spoke to everybody possible. When is the best time to publish, and who is the correct person? So I cold emailed people, I cold emailed the submission links on the websites, and luckily Penguin reached out to me. And one advice that I would like to give to people, apart from what Arva ma'am said already, would be when you are writing, when you're giving your submission package, you also need to appeal to their self-interest. Because if you are an anonymous author, and you cannot only talk about how great your book is, what your book is about, you also got to talk about how this book will benefit you in your glossary. For example, to Penguin, how besides the Thursday Murder Club or Delhi Disco would also add to your library of comedy thrillers, and how these books, because they have a yardstick to measure, that these books have received a fair amount of love. So that's what I did, appealed to their self-interest, that this book will do this for you, this book will do that for you. It already has an audience, so it becomes easier. So I'm not saying that this is the gospel that will always work, but this worked for me. And finally, I think I never stopped believing in my book. I love my book. I love my manuscript, and I know I'm a little biased, but I never stopped believing. And yes, miracles happen. And if my book is not blurred right now, yeah, this came out of it ultimately.
So well done. Thanks, Shikhar. They've shared my blog, but I'm going to talk briefly because I'm the only person on this panel who has a literary agent and has written a non-fiction book. I think everybody else has fiction and doesn't have a literary agent. I mean, the experience is similar to what everyone has said. If you want to be traditionally published, you have to have a lot of patience. So I didn't know anything about writing, publishing. I called up a friend who was a writer. Like Shikhar said, you just have to talk to everybody. He was like, find a lit agent. I don't even know what a lit agent was. I had to Google it. And then I think Arva said that whole packet he explained to me, you have to write the synopsis, your concept note, something about you, so, the table of contents, what each chapter is about, and a few sample chapters. So I started writing that. He put me in touch with a lit agent, which I know is very lucky, but I waited 2 or 3 months and the lit agent was like, thanks, but no thanks. Like you're saying, who are you and why are you writing this book? And, sorry, good luck. So my self-doubt was very high, and I was like, oh, I'm never going to write a book. I'm never going to be published, and I would give up for a few months. And then something would happen that would trigger me. My book is about Goa and the Goan identity and how much Goa changed, etc., etc. And something would happen here, and I felt, no, I have to write this book. I also considered self-publishing, but two things. One is I didn't have the confidence to self-publish. I didn't think I knew I needed an editor, somebody to help me to craft the narrative. I also didn't want to invest any money. Like Arva said, I was very clear that I wanted to be, I didn't know how much money was right and, how I would work. So then somebody sent me the HWR blog with all the lit agents in India. I didn't even think international. And I wrote to all of them, something you're not supposed to do. I think a bit like Shikhar, I had a Google sheet. I had the names of the lit agents. I had like what they wanted, because some you can email, some you have to put submissions on the site, some you have to write, like 200 words, some 500 words, some whatever. So I wrote to a lot of them. I mean, a lot in at least 7 or 8, not like Arva's, which was at 75. I thought that was a lot. A few of them replied saying, thanks, but no thanks. This is not a book we can publish. Some were like, send us the manuscript. And then Jacaranda signed me up. Also, I was given to understand that lit agents help you with, packaging your book to sell to publishers. And that would be useful for me. It ended up that the editor at Penguin helped me a lot, because I think I said, please, be brutal. The other thing about for myself and a lot of writers is you have to be able to let go. As much as you think that yours is the best book, you have to be able to willing to accept feedback because you're too close to it. So I wanted somebody else to tell me what was important, what was not important. And issues like language, there were lots of sort of Konkani and Portuguese words. There were a lot of Catholic words that were there that I had to explain. So the feedback was very useful. I said, please be brutal. It takes some time. Somebody said, develop a thick skin. I, would cry for a few days and then start all over again. So I think finally it was a lot of work in the sense of, with traditional publishing, I think it took me 2 or 3 years, which I've heard is very short. It usually takes longer. But also I was determined to meet all the deadlines, which I think a lot of writers don't have the time. Because I felt that, I worked so hard, I wanted to be published. So the last year, 6 months when I was working with the editors, it was like I wouldn't sleep. I just write all the time. It was just had become, part of me. So that was my experience with the lit agent and with the publisher for a non-fiction book. Let me go back to my panel and now ask each of them. I'll start with Arva. On the whole FDC, how many you attended? How did it help you in terms of the expert panels or the community? You mentioned, somebody being accountable to someone. Did you find the person through an FDC, or how was it? How was the FDC a part of your writing publishing journey?
Yes, I think I have attended only one FDC until now, and that FDC has literally changed my life. I can say that I have this beautiful book as a result of attending that FDC, and how it helped me. I was new, so I didn't really know anyone. The WhatsApp group that FDC creates, the writing prompts, the Excel tracker, it kind of motivated me to finish that book that was languishing in my laptop since 1 year. So I was stuck. I didn't know how to take it forward. So when this announcement of FDC was done, just I think a month before that, I went through the book again. I read through, I made notes, and then when I was a little clearer about how I want to take the story forward, and at that time the FDC dropped in, and it was actually a lifesaver. I managed to finish my entire book in that 1 month. I was very dedicated. I used to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and I would sprint. I would write every target of every day. I used to write 1800 to 2000 words. And that really helped me to finish my book, though the first draft was a little less in word count compared to international standards. But still, I managed to finish it. I had something to work with in the future. Along with the daily prompts, prints, and everything, the Sunday panels really helped to get an insight into the publishing process. So that's when you learn about how professional editing really works, how it is to get in through the eyes of a publisher what exactly they're looking for in a book. So all these things help you to fine tune your book a bit. And yes, you sometimes end up making lifelong friends through FDC.
Nice. Thanks, Arva. Shikhar, I'm going to go to you and your experience with FDCs.
Michelle, FDC, oh my God. The atmosphere over there is so charged. The WhatsApp group is always buzzing with so much happening about whether it is writing, because everybody is at different stages of their writing journeys. And because FDC, the WhatsApp group is open for a short time before you integrate it into the larger group. So everybody is just so active because they all want to make the most out of it. So I discovered FDC towards the end of my first book's writing journey, when I was just finishing it, polishing it, and editing it. And the major advantage over there I found was because writing is largely an isolated exercise that you're going to do it yourself. And unless you're a published author already, your friends, your family, they don't understand that why has this person spent so much time in isolation? Why is this person not spending time with us? And what is this person doing? Like, is anything going to come out of it? They wish well, but ultimately, like, sometimes your work speaks for you, and at that time, you don't have anything to show for it. So I think FTC came as a boon that time, because you get to realize that there are so many people in the same boat as you are, or probably at different journeys, and whether you can help them or you can ask for help, and everybody is just so willing to help and share information, share their experience, which I think is amazing. Because if you go and ask people generally, first of all, you won't ever get to meet these people otherwise. You cannot like be looking out on Facebook or Instagram that who are the people who are writing, and if you ask them, they won't be as willing to share advice. So it fosters a sense of community, and I feel really happy when I see somebody's work out there, somebody who's a fellow FDC alumni, their work getting published, and it just makes me really happy. And I owe to not only FDC but HWR for the wealth of resources that they have on their website, the number of editors listed, lit agents listed, useful blogs by people, including yourself. So I think all of them collectively helps you a lot, gives you a lot of perspective. So yeah.
Thanks, Shikhar. That's a resounding applause for FTC. Shalini, what about you?
Yeah. So I was, when I joined FTC, I have attended only one FTC, and I was revising my first debut novel. So this is Lost Edges. And so unlike many other people who start writing the first draft, I was doing the other way around. So I had already written 1 lakh plus words for my debut novel. And I was a very totally novice in novel writing. I'm primarily a short story writer. So I didn't know that you cannot have like 1 lakh plus words for a romance novel. So I was like, I had to cut it down, but it was such a painful process to do it alone in isolation. And I was going through so much pain of cutting out this 30K plus words. Then I joined the FTC and I got the advice from the editors, and that particular panel was like, I think, very keen on editing and how important it is to edit and cut things and cut the fluff from your work. And it really helped me, actually. That momentum helped me cut out 30K words I wrote. It was such a painful process, but I think ultimately it helped my novel in a great manner, because I could, now it is 67K or something. So actually it gave me the, the confidence and to cut out things you write. That is one scary part, and the other thing is like, it showed me where you can find fluff in your writing. And, with the precision and detachment of a surgeon, you can cut out things. So this is without the community at that point of time, especially I think I talked to Chetan and many people about cutting this out. They all had the same opinion. You have to cut it out. Don't leave so much fluff in the writing. So I think I owe to FDC for my novel, because without that, I would have stuck in a place where, with this 1 lakh word, I'm sitting on top of my novel. So I thank FDC that helped me cut out my novel, actually, rather than writing it. So it's a very different experience I had. Yeah.
True. Editing. Yeah. Thanks. Riddhi, we already know you found an editor, but tell us some more about your experience.
So then after my first book was already published when I discovered FTC. But it had been 1 year since my first book was published, and I had faced so many rejections after that. And I was at my lowest point in my writing journey at that point. In fact, this book itself, which was accepted by Penguin, was rejected by at least 6 to 7 publishers. So, and I was erratic. I was not disciplined at all at that point. One day I had an idea for this book, the other day another book. So when FTC came across, I got the discipline. I didn't know that, you could actually have a target, an Excel sheet, and count the number of words that you write every day. So it instilled a lot of discipline in me, which I continue still date. Like I told you, I write for 1 hour every day, come what may. And second, it gave me the most important thing. It gave me the contact of Shayoni Basu. And also helped me interact with a lot more authors. Lavanya Karthik, another children's author, was a part of that panel. Other publishers were a part of that panel. I got to know how to accept rejections, get used to rejections in this industry. And the third thing that I got, and the most important thing now for me, is the third book that is going to get published next year. Yes, I found an author friend on FDC 16 who stays like just a hop, skip, and jump away from where I stay, and she's already published with Scholastic. So I got the contact details of the commissioning editor over there, and touch wood, the manuscript has been accepted.
Wow.
Yeah, FDC has given me a lot, I'd say.
That's amazing. I have one more question for you, Riddhi, on writing for children. How do you balance educating with entertaining? Because I think your books deal with gender, migration, and other important issues.
Right. So, one, I would use the rule of writing, which is show and don't tell. So, and it being a children's book, it is easier, right? With illustrations also and with the actions of your character. For example, I would like to show in The Boy Who Wore Bangles, which is based on gender fluidity and has undertones of LGBTQ themes. We had this section where the grandmother asked the boy that, why do you love wearing bangles? And he was like, because I love the way they light up my hands. My hands look like a rainbow. So we use similes, we use symbolism to bring in the LGBTQ angle through the text as well as the visuals. And for the other book, which deals with migration, it was packaged in a very fun way. So because it's for children, when we grown-ups take, moving to a new city very seriously, it's difficult for us. But for children, it's probably not as difficult. They adapt faster than us. And it was packaged to the symbol of a popular food in South India, medu vada. So a sick boy falls in love with medu vada, and how the whole family struggles to make the perfect medu vada for him. And in the end, there's someone from, again, we show the Southern culture that comes to their rescue. So it's all packaged in a fun way without being preachy, because I remember someone telling me that don't look down upon children at all. Sometimes we do think that we need to lecture, we need to be preachy when you're writing for children, but we don't need to. We need to treat them as intelligent as adults. Yes.
Thanks, Riddhi. I'm going to ask Shalini the last question on, is it easier to pitch your second book after your first book is published? I think Riddhi has answered it for us.
Yes, Michelle, definitely it gets easier because I think for writers, portfolio and networking is very important, because as a writer, when you publish your first book, not write your first book, when you publish your first book and you go and market it, and people will take notice of it, and definitely your portfolio will get richer. And also in the process, you are bound to make a lot of networking, because you are going to this person reading it and all that. So you will get a lot of networking. Definitely it helps. And also, somehow the process, to some extent how it works and, where you should. So you don't have to kind of scramble for your second book. So you already know. And also, in my opinion, I think you have to keep writing. Book as such is fine. It doesn't happen very often, right? You don't publish a book in 6 months, but you have to keep writing. If you're a fiction writer, try to keep getting published in literary magazines, because my second book, which is going to be published by Red River Story, it's titled The Tree, the Well, and the Drag Queen. Actually, I got it commissioned by an editor of Bangalore Review. She read a short story of mine and she wanted it to be developed into a novella. So my advice would be keep publishing, keep writing short stories or whatever that is your thing. Keep writing and keep publishing. So don't just disappear after one book. Okay, so that is the thing. So you have to be in the, I wouldn't say in the, in the business, but it is the truth. You have to be in the business. You have to be, being published at least, say, 3-4 times a year or something, so that you are in the, so definitely it gets easier. So many people have told me even writing the second book also is easier. That publishing is one thing, writing the second book is also easier. So the first book is the toughest part in my experience. For me, at least it was. And I think from there, the journey got easier and easier. So it's like, it's brighter. The future is brighter.
Thanks. Good. I'm going to say just one thing about what you said. So I am part of a writers group, and we put together an anthology. And I managed to sell it to my editor in Penguin. And I was not the editor. I just helped, manage the process. And so, I mean, I don't know if I write another book, whether it'll be that easy, but I managed to, the editors have signed the contract with Penguin. It's now with Penguin, and it will be published in January. One more thing which I wanted to mention is about if you have a lit agent, you should not go directly to the publisher. You are committed to submitting all your work through the lit agent. For this anthology, it was not just me, it was some 30-something writers, but I spoke to my lit agent and she recommended that I pitch it directly to Penguin. I just wanted, the sort of protocol on people. If you have a lit agent, then you're supposed to go through the lit agent. Okay, I think I've done with my questions. I now will give it back to Pratyusha. Thanks again, Arva, Shalini, Shikhar, and Riddhi. I hope the people found the questions and the answers. I think you were very well prepared and concise. So thank you very much. I'm going to give it back to Pratyusha.